Our headlines today. Former Prime Ministers criticised the decision to scrap the northern section of HS2, but Rishi Sunak says it will free up billions of pounds for other transport projects.
Question is, what are those transport projects the Prime Minister's promised to invest in across the country? There are dozens of them, and I'll talk you through some of the more notable ones.
And the Prime Minister describes his plans to phase out smoking as the single biggest intervention in public health in a generation.
A man's been arrested on suspicion of murder after a 54-year-old died in a dog attack.
Good morning. A European night to remember for Newcastle United. They'd waited 20 years for this and smashed 4 past French champions Paris Saint-Germain on a raucous evening at St James's Park.
Police are investigating possible corporate manslaughter at the hospital where child serial killer Lucy Letby worked. The 33-year-old former nurse was found guilty in August of murdering 7 babies and attempting to kill 6 others at the Countess of Chester Hospital. Cheshire police say the latest investigation was in its early stage. Lawrence Fox has been sacked by GB News after an outcry about comments he made on air about a female journalist. The former actor, as well as political activist, sparked controversy last week when he asked what self-respecting man would climb into bed with Ava Evans. Fox made the comments while appearing as a contributor on Dan Wootton's show. A murder investigation has been launched after a man was attacked and killed in Sunderland by what police believe to be an American XL bully dog. The man who died has been named as 54-year-old Ian Langley. Police say the dog was killed to protect the public.
Since PC Nicola Hughes was murdered in 2012, her father, Bryn Hughes, has campaigned for posthumous medals to be given to the families of emergency workers killed in the line of duty.
Bryn has now met with Policing Minister Chris Philp to discuss his campaign.
Of our top stories this morning, and Sky News can reveal that baby banks are being forced to ration formula milk because there's simply not enough to go around. Metro Bank is drawing up plans to raise hundreds of millions of pounds of new capital in a bid to strengthen its troubled balance sheet. And Just Stop Oil protesters storm London's West End, locking themselves to the set of Les Miserables.
On Thursday morning, so let's have a look at the front pages of the papers for you this morning. Almost all of the front pages, as you might imagine, cover the Prime Minister's announcement on HS2. That statement yesterday in his speech to Conference Times, featuring a photo of Rishi Sunak and his wife, Ashkata Murthy, who introduced him to the stage. Paper reports he cast himself as Thatcher's heir, but gambled his premiership by setting himself against his recent Tory predecessors.
PM's great betrayal and train wreck. That's how the Daily Mirror sums up the Prime Minister's keynote speech, specifically the announcement on HS2, claiming that Mr Sunak has condemned the north of England to a future of decline. In a break from politics, The Sun's front page features what it calls the bonkers news that the 2030 Men's Football World Cup will be held across 6 countries in 3 continents. Spain, Portugal and Morocco have been named as the co-hosts, with the opening 3 matches taking place in Uruguay, Argentina and Paraguay.
Then the stories making this morning's front pages. Now, The Times there reports that Rishi Sunak is setting himself against his recent Tory predecessor in order to pledge to break with the old consensus. And the Metro there leading with the headline, "I'm on track for victory," as they detail how the Prime Minister promises to change Britain and win the next election. While the Financial Times says the scrapping the northern leg of HS2 is a bid to paint the Tories as a party of change. Now, The Guardian reports Rishi Sunak has ignited a civil war in his party after the HS2 axe. And in the Eye, the Prime Minister promises to reinvest the money saved from scrapping the HS2 in other rail projects. Huge decisions to change Britain, that's the headline there, gracing the front of the Telegraph with a look at the effective ban on smoking for future generations. While the Daily Mail is calling the Prime Minister's announcement a bold and radical policy blitz to transform Britain. The Daily Express there calling Rishi Sunak a game changer. And finally, the Daily Star reporting on supermarkets having to put security tags on, wait for it, toilet rolls. Wow. And if you want to see any of those front pages again or read the stories, just scan the QR code which is on your screen.